Hi.
Webinar fails. Hi, I'm going to switch it off now.
Right. We're waiting for people to join in now.
It's a good time if you want to grab a quick cup of coffee or some water or whatever. We have a couple of minutes. But I'm letting people in. Hi, Anjali. Hi, Anne. Good to see the early birds.
Hi, this is Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, hi. Do put in your intros on the chat. I think just as standard practice when people are coming in, it'll be good to see and for the speakers to know who we have in the room. So do type in your introductions in the chat. That'll be great. Hi to everyone who's joining in now. We're just going to start in a minute. We are usually very, very punctual about when we start our sessions. So we promise we will not keep you waiting for too long. Also, just very quickly, if you're just joining, do type in your introduction on the chat so we know where you're from. So let us know what city you're joining us from and what you do. That'd be very, very helpful. Thanks. And just for all the speakers, if you're not familiar with this terminology, IEC is Independent Education Consultant or Counselor. So in effect, counselor. And if you're a parent or a student, do tell us that. It would be good for us to know that as well. Thanks. Awesome. So we do have a student. Hi, Ritisha. Good to see you here. Not putting you in a spot, but good to see you here. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Hi, hi, hi. Okay, Charu, I think we can start. It's 6:01. Let's get started. We have a lot of ground to cover. People will keep joining in, but let's get this started.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, it's nice to see parents, students, educators, everybody in the room. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Careers Conclave. This is by the Outreach Collective, fondly called TOC. So, the Outreach Collective, let me start with a quick introduction about what this forum is all about. It is a learning led professional community, of course, designed to close systemic gaps in the education ecosystem. bringing together practitioners from higher education, K-12 schools, edtech, and independent practices. TOC offers access to high-quality learning experiences, trusted networks, and actionable insights. So, frankly, for me personally, since I've been associated with TOC since its very inception, it's more of a vibe. Yeah, so it cultivates an atmosphere where collaboration, knowledge exchange, and this whole celebration of best practices in guidance and outreach, they have kind of become the integral pillars of the community. So, and frankly, a big part of this why one thing that I'd say is that if you're doing anything else while you're listening to this and maybe doing your evening cooking or whatever, just stop everything, I would say. Yeah, just sit down with a cup of whatever. And because this is truly like a front row seat to the realities of visual arts, design, performing arts tomorrow. And, we'll be discussing more of that in another session tomorrow. So, and whether you're guiding students or you're rethinking career pathways or you're plotting your own creative coup, this is where future takes shape. Okay, so get ready. My name is Charu Shila, and I am a college counselor working with students from across the world. I'm also an education consultant working with schools in India as well as in the UK. So, frankly, I do come from that generation where, our painting class was all about drawing these two mountains with the sun peeking through onto a river and with ducks on it. Nobody told us whether they were ducks or seagulls, really. And I don't know why. But, and also that flower that we were asked to draw with 5 petals. So, thankfully for us, some of us, we truly were able to break away from this jailed understanding of creativity. And we were able to define creativity for our own selves. And frankly, for me personally, creativity has always meant embracing change. So rather than looking at your life like a continuum of high school, college, marriage, careers, looking at it more like an amusement park where you're thrown into surprises. You do enjoy the occasional roller coaster ride. You maybe have a free fall, so your heart sinks, but then you lift yourself back up again. So in a lot of ways, creativity does not always have to be a tangible thing. It is also in the way you hold your life. But that's going to be another careers conclave. Okay. So coming back to what we are discussing today is very, very important because each one of us has been exposed to creativity in our own ways. We keep hearing a lot from parents, students, and I know there are so many doubts that sometimes shroud this whole understanding. So we have created an amazing panel for you. And this collectively, this panel has so many years of experience, and they've been dealing with careers around creativity. And so let me introduce them just with their name to begin with, and then they will be introducing themselves. We do have with us Aditi Khurana, who is the International Regional Head, India, Singapore, and Middle East School of Visual Arts, USA. Yes, you can throw in a heart, Aditi. Yeah, we have Anu Kalhan, who is International Regional Assistant Director, Full Sail University, USA again. And we have Bulbul Chaudhary, Professor Bulbul Chaudhary, who's the Pro Vice Chancellor Admissions at Atlas Skill Tech University in India. We have Kushnam Mirza, who is Associate Director of Admission at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, US. We have Professor Shamit Srivastav, who's Associate Professor of Practice, Design, Flame University. So we're all joined from different parts of the world. And before we jump into quick introductions, let's have a quick poll on the screen. Manas, if you could help us with that. So what do you hear commonly about careers in visual arts and design? This is just for the panelists to get a sense of this audience. Yeah, okay, okay. Only those with exceptional talent succeed. It will not lead to any financial stability. Oh my God. Yeah. This is not a career, it is a hobby. So just do it for that, okay? Career paths are limited to desk jobs behind a computer screen, maybe? Yeah, okay. All right. So, panelists, you are sensing the room. Yeah, you are getting a sense of what this is going to look like. So, there are lots of myths to be busted as we go forward. So, here is the format for today's discussion. One, we are going to start with quick introductions. Two, we're going to deep dive into the world of visual arts and design and threadbare it for you, perhaps bust these myths. And three, universities are going to actually talk to you about what are their offerings and how can you get into these amazing universities. So hang on till the end. There will also be a space for Q&A, so you can ask any questions. So let's jump straight into it. How about Aditi? Please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. A very good evening from Goa. That's where I'm based. My name is Aditi Khurana. I'm the International Regional Head for School of Visual Arts, which is in New York City in Manhattan. I have been with SVA for about 11 years now. This is my 12th year running. And I have met creative students, like some of you are here, who are looking at pursuing a creative career. So yes, join in. Let me know if there is any help that you need. I've had an experience in art and design for 12 years before I joined SVA. So I am an art student myself, and that's why I know exactly what you're going through. And we all are here to bust those myths.
Amazing. Thanks, Aditi. Anu.
Hi everyone, I'm Anu. I am the Assistant Director for Full Sail University. I've been here 9 years now almost, yeah. Fantastic to be part of this creative community. And I love what we're doing here because honestly, before I joined, I was like Charushila explained, right? I was the person who actually only knew that art was drawing those mountains. I have learned so much from the students I meet every day. Um, and I get to travel all over the world. India, I've been, I think, in 3 cities already in the last 3 days. And if anybody is joining in from Chennai, I'm in Chennai today.
All right. Yes, Professor Bulbul.
Good evening to everyone, and thanks, Charu, for this opportunity. I'll try and make it as useful for the participants. I'm joining from Mumbai. I'm joining from Atlas Skilltech University. A lot of people know us as ISD, so whichever way you like, ISD, Atlas ISD. We are a design school, and of course, I'll talk a little bit more about it. I've been here 10 years. Many years back, I studied design, but it wasn't my first choice. It wasn't even a choice. I was someone who was meant to be a surgeon. I even decided that I wanted to be a heart surgeon. So from the journey from a surgeon to if I may say a designer, and really what it takes to get there is something I'll be happy to share for many of you who think design is not a serious career. So happy to be here, and I hope I can be of some value.
Thank you, Bulbul. Thank you so much. It took me back to, I got selected at Christian Medical College for BDS. And the only thing I told my mom was, I'm not putting my hand into people's mouth. So it's just, we've all like been through that whole PCMB pathway. Yeah. All right. Yes, Krishna.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here on this panel with so many creative minds. Very similar to most of you, I've also been from this industry where, to be honest, my parents thought designing was only fashion or maybe sketching and sculpting. But it's come a long way, and there's a lot of growth in art, design, business innovation now. So happy to share those insights and inputs on these creative careers. I'm from SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, and I'm the Associate Director of Admission there.
Perfect. Thank you. Professor Shamit.
Right. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to you all. I am Shamit Srivastav. I'm the head of the Department for School of Design, Art and Performance at Flame University. We are a young design school, and this is my 7th year as a design educator. I used to be with Atlas a few years back, so Bulbul and I have been colleagues. I spent 13 years in the industry. A lot of it has been with the automotive sector, where I was working with the innovation product strategy domains. I have a master's in product design from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And before that, did my engineering from Pune. I'm currently, logged in from Pune. And I'm also currently, about to finish my PhD from IIT Delhi in the area of design entrepreneurship. So look forward to more conversations and all the best.
Awesome, awesome. So we're all logged in from different parts of the country, and I am logged in here in the UK. So it's like we're covering a lot of ground here. But before we jump into anything, I think it becomes, we're all a lot of educators in this room, and for us, it becomes superbly important to firstly define what are we really talking about. So, Aditi, if I would throw this question at you, what would you say is visual arts? Is it really different from design, and has it really changed over the years?
Thank you so much, Charu, for asking that question. It's a question that every time I go and visit a school, I ask this question to the students now that you all are aspiring art and design students. What is art? Just like you said, how you remember the first drawing that you made, the mountains, and we made those birds like that, like the crow, which was literally like a we all have been there, and there was a river right in the center. I think art is often the first language that we speak as kids. Crayons and colors is the first gift we get when we are young. It's the walls we paint, the kind of freedom that we used to have with art. I don't know where academia takes over, and suddenly art becomes a hobby. Art, when I ask students, they often come up with beautiful things. They say it's about storytelling, it's about creativity, it's about innovation, it's about expression. Yes, it is self-expression. And when we think of art, usually an image comes to our mind of a struggling artist with a jhola, and like even in the questions, the poll, there was that question that, okay, what is the return on investment for if you become an artist? How will you earn? But we need to understand the changing landscape now of everything that is happening in today's world with technology going where it's going. I would say fine art is not just about traditional art, which is canvas and drawing and painting and sculpting and ceramics and printmaking. Yes, that all is part of art. But parents and independent educators, I'm glad you all are here. You need to understand that art is also that we are actually surrounded with art and we don't even realize it. We are living in smart homes. I always tell students, if you're choosing fine art, maybe it's a freelance job, and that's what they need to realize, right? If you're choosing design, I also ask them, okay, what is design? If you're telling me what is art, now tell me what is design. And suddenly they are like, they all want to become interior designers, they want to do product design, but they don't understand what design is. So at that age, I think it's important to even make them understand that design is about problem solving. And I think the biggest example I can give of design and of problem solving is that during COVID, knowledge did not stop. It wasn't that schools were shut for 6 months. It wasn't that we were figuring it out, and we did not have anything like Zoom. Or so when I tell students about this, they're like, oh my God, okay, yes, we're using Zoom, we're using Microsoft Teams, we are using Google. So there were these designers. It's all interaction design, what we are doing. Just like you said, we're all sitting in different parts of the city, different parts of the world, and here we are. That's hence design is all about problem solving. And art and design is art. Let me tell you that it is, because it is literally the foundation. So to understand this, that in the changing landscape, we need to move away from the idea of art being a hobby. It is just SUPW as it was defined when I was in school. It was more art and craft. And I'm glad you're doing performance art and talking about that as well tomorrow, which is film, and there is dance, all about performance, which is so I think it's open to so many possibilities now that we need to open up our mind, and I think we need to embrace and move away from fine art being a hobby and fine art being just like, oh, you can't earn from it. Look at social media. I don't even think artists need art galleries anymore. The outreach that they have is amazing. They are reaching out to people through different platforms, and it's really nice to know how they are exploring and how the world is exploring and how each individual is growing and sharing their creativity around. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aditi, for that. Because, and I'm trying to imagine a Venn diagram between art and design. Are they overlapping circles? Are they circles that intersect at some point? I don't know. Maybe we'll answer that in due course. But for too long, the arts have been dismissed as impractical. A plan B rather than any main act, so to say. And so, given this understanding, Professor Shamit, I mean, you're an academician, and you are heading a strong department at Flame. So, given this understanding, do you think families can consider creative careers a mainstream career option? Can we really rewrite this script? In fact, I mean, to extend this further, what are the skills of a designer in today's age and stage? And parents, please listen into this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the partially that answer is already answered because a lot of industries are now practicing design. And let me give you a small picture of it. Okay, so what is happening is the industry is getting very competitive, right? We all know that there's so much of globalization happening. So many startups are coming and disrupting, large companies, and also the regulations, industry regulations are becoming so stringent. Consumer aspirations, consumer is demanding better products, convenient products and services, and due to this companies are looking to innovate, right? So gone are the days where designers were hired only to bring about an aesthetic difference to a product, right? And what is happening is now design is going across the value chain. What does it mean? Designers are also contributing to marketing, branding, and consumer experiences. They're not just designing a good-looking product or a well-performing service. They're also looking at what is the impact this product or service is creating in the minds of the people. Similarly, design is also adding value to the top end of the value chain. Um, Leading companies like McKinsey, Deloitte, and also a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies, automobile companies, they are hiring designers because designers bring in the value of, thinking differently, asking the questions which no one in the organization has asked yet, right? So Aditi mentioned about problem solving. To solve a problem, you need to discover the right problem, right? And you can discover a right problem only when you have a holistic understanding of not just design skills, but also business skills, also the understanding of trends, also understanding of how teamwork works, also understanding how hard skills like prototyping, sketching, all of that works. So therefore, design is becoming is actually spreading its wings across the industry, and it's actually become much more exciting as a career option. So not just smaller companies, large corporates, business consulting firms, design consulting firms, everyone is wanting to hire designers now, including the IT sector. I'm sitting in Pune, and Hinjewadi is hardly 15 kilometers from here. So many designers working as UX UI designers out there. So yes.
That's wonderful, actually. And it's, I think Albert Einstein was the one who said creativity is intelligence having fun. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, when we try to see this cross linking between different industries, that's when it becomes very interesting. So that's when, even for parents and students in the room, what we need to understand is that it's not just about picking a BDes degree or a BFA degree. At the end of the day, it's about developing a style of thinking. Yeah, just changing the whole narrative, perhaps, because you're in the room, because you're the designer in the room, in the boardroom as such. Wonderful. I think, Krishnam, let's get your perspective, because as educators, we believe in the pursuit of creative careers, especially in visual arts. But when we are often asked by parents, the first thing they ask us is, okay, what's the ROI? Yeah, and I think Professor Shamit has already set the stage for that. But what do you think is the ROI on visual arts and design careers? as such.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on everything that's been discussed now and to give better or further clarity, I think one of the most frequently asked questions we hear from students and parents is around ROI, the return of investment on higher education when it comes to this creative industry. And I think it's a question also one should rightfully ask, because when you're pursuing a degree in this creative field, it's only natural to want to understand the benefits or want to know that your time, effort, and your financial investment is going to lead to jobs, right? So I think in the past 2 or 3 decades, this creative industry has seen like tremendous growth, particularly in like exposure and influence on the newer generations. It's been a part of our daily lives for ages, but I think now there has been this understanding of creative industry and the need for designers or creative thinkers. I mean, from like the toothbrush we use every morning, which falls under the category of product or industrial design, to the clothes we wear, to the homes we live in, I think creative people are all behind that. And when you think about, I was having this conversation with a student last week. When you think about the apps that we use to navigate the city or to even order an Uber ride, they're all designed by user experience designers and specialists from interaction design, or there's heavy research involved with design. Or even when you consider like the cars we drive, these are all results of automobile designs. Or when we talk about service industry, it's Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit that manage or make your life much, much more easier because an artist or a designer has thought about solving that problem where you have everything at your doorstep. So I think that's why we're all here big supporters of creative industries, because in these design programs or in these education sectors, you learn transferable skills, you learn how to problem solve, and you learn how to come up with newer solutions for wherever a company or a business is stuck. So it's basically like most of us have this in our bones. It's to have that creative jugaad solution to all problems. And that is how you identify yourself being a designer or being a creative innovator. Lately, nowadays, we've had students who graduate from an animation degree diving into the fintech sector. I think like the concept of having an animator just do animation jobs is no longer the case, and there is a big growth and development in the design industry and the job market.
Yeah. That's amazing. In fact, I have a dentist friend who's also a photographer, big in Hyderabad. Yeah, so it works really well. You're absolutely right. You did mention some stats on UI UX design, I remember. What was that exactly?
I do. I read and keep myself updated with newer programs, newer technologies coming in. And very recently, if you check out Forbes magazine's highest paying jobs article, you'll find that out of the top 10 industries, there are 6 that are relevant to design. And the highest paying job right now is user experience and user interface. And this is worldwide right now. So I think we are now seeing this paradigm shift where tech is no longer just coding or intelligent work. It's all to do with creative, innovative solutions for design, art, fields, or any other industry, like may it be fintech sectors or business or F&B. Everything requires a creative mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a living example of this one. A student of mine went into UC Berkeley, decided that she wanted to do a psychology major, combined it with cognitive neuroscience and UI UX, and is finally working at Meta. They ended up also sponsoring her. And then she's definitely in that zone of UI UX design and obviously making her millions at the end of the day. So great ROI, people. I hope you're listening. So that's a big one. But we know that every child is an artist, but the problem, I think, lies in how to remain an artist once you grow up. Right. So I'm going to come to you, Professor Bulbul, because the pulse of the education industry and nurturing of new age creative careers rests with educators. And the educators, especially who are willing to go the path less traveled, create that entire disruptive, meaningful institution for students who want to study visual arts and design. And I know it's not easy in a country like India. So, but it can be often very confusing for parents to select or decide one from the other. What do you recommend students, parents, counselors to look for in design education? I'm sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Charu. I just want to take a minute to talk about, this conversation on ROI. And of course, it's a very important conversation. And I'm myself a design parent. When I say that, my son chose the design path. So, one thing to have been to talk about it. It's another thing when you're a parent, right? You go through all those tests that you've sort of, talked about and truly get the opportunity to walk the talk. But I do want to say this, that design is a profession, but I think design, like education, is what design does, right? Every moment, the way you respond, think, behave, conduct, is for designers come from a far deeper truth often, right? So design is a profession, but design is also what design does to you in the way you just live and navigate life, right? And more importantly, in today's time and age, because we live in very uncertain times, right? We live in with a whole lot of ambiguity around it. More than anything else, I think design teaches us. Design is a very useful tool to navigate ambiguity. Because there are no definite blacks and whites. There's no black white, right? It's not binary. It's not algebra, right? So to be able to be comfortable with the gray, right, is also what design does to you. But coming to your question, and I do think it's very important both for educators, parents, and each of us in possibly how to go about design. Very daunting because unlike medical, engineering, maybe even law, architecture, we don't even have a common entrance examination in India, right? So if you were to choose 5 schools, 6 schools, 10 schools, you're possibly writing an exam for each of those schools, right? And if you're applying abroad, then there's another portfolio of schools you're applying to, and you're also writing your class 12 board examinations, etc. So just the whole space can be very, very daunting. What I advise parents, and I'm going to break this, if you permit, into 2 parts, and I do hope it's useful. The first is look at design schools in what are the types of design schools, right? Predominantly across the globe, the design schools, in my opinion, are 3 types. The first is what I call a single discipline design school that may offer one particular discipline. It could be fashion, it could be communication. Often it is fashion and communication, but it could be, let's say, for Shamit, who went to Indian Institute of Science, maybe it's product design, etc. So if an individual is very, very certain that, hey, listen, I want to be the best fashion designer and I've got fashion in my bones and this is what I want to do, then choosing a school that offers just fashion itself is a good idea. Then there are schools which are multiple disciplines, right? Or we call multidisciplinary design schools, such as those that will offer product and interiors and communication and fashion and possibly liberal arts and interiors and strategic design and animation. And for students who want to first get a sort of a broader understanding of design and then choose, and many students are in that sort of have that profile where they want to exercise and understand and find themselves and then choose the design school they wish to go to. The one that Atlas Skilltech in ESD is one such, but there are several others. And I think more and more in India, we have multidisciplinary design schools. And the third, in my opinion, fewer so are what I call vanilla design schools or generic design schools that do not necessarily have a specialization. They have a bachelor's in design program without a specialization tag, right? Like a Goldsmith, I don't know whether they still are, but Goldsmith in UK was offered a BDES program without a specialization. Now, for each of us, a certain discipline is useful. I went to a pure play fashion design school, but looking back now, I went to NIFT, but looking back, I feel it would have been quite useful to have been even in a multidisciplinary environment, right? So that's one way to look at a design school. And the other is very simply, as you do for any other profession, when you're looking at design schools for parents and for students, I would use 3 levers. I would look at knowledge, skills, and attitude. Knowledge is given, right? The content, the curriculum, much of what you're going to study. But it gets even more interesting when we talk about skills. What is the and skills? The difference between knowledge and skills is just the fact that skills are demonstratable, right? Hand skills, technology skills, even communication and softer skills. And when you see the display of work that students put, on the boards, etc., in their interactions, you'll get a pulse of what is the extent of skills available to the students, who are the kind of teachers who are dealing with those. So I think demonstrable skills, deep skills, transferable skills, simply
Sure.
put,
Mm-hmm.
Even drawing is a skill, right? So
Yeah.
depending on the kind of a program that you're choosing, how deep are the skills? And I think the third one, which is maybe lesser spoken about, but really important in my opinion, is attitude, right? Are we imparting amongst young people risk-taking appetite, right? Are the teachers enabled to help them navigate ambiguity? Are we looking at exposure and internships? Are we looking at international exposure? Are we looking at research capacity? Are we looking at their ability to file for patents, etc.? I'm putting it in an attitude bucket simply because it needs more than just finishing a curriculum and doing your content. So I divided this answer broadly into types of schools versus the knowledge, the skill, the attitude. And depending on what is it that you're looking for, right? If you say, hey, listen, you're signing up and paying the fee for the attitude, well, no one's going to buy that, right? But attitude is so important. And sometimes people choose to come to a
Absolutely.
particular city and study simply because you learn the city itself becomes a laboratory. So I would think
Yeah.
of these, and of course, talk to teachers, talk to former students, alumnus. Infrastructure also has a huge role to play. And truly, if you visit 5 or 6 design schools, and I think that's an investment I would urge parents and the community to invest in, you learn a lot in just visiting and being able to figure out, hey, listen, I think I belong over here, right?
That's
But then
amazing.
that's
That's excellent.
must.
Yeah, excellent advice, Bulbul. I think it's I'm reminded of this recent fly-in I did at Florence, which was a university there, Marist University, and they offer art and design programs, and where Florence essentially the city is the classroom. And so sometimes, yes, you're absolutely right. You need to go and visit and kind of experience that entire education, because design education, unlike any other, is just there are so many levels to it. I think that brings us to this very important question that as an admissions recruiter director for all kinds of students, let's say, and this is for you, Anu, is there a typical profile of a design student that you look for as such? Not particularly yourself, but this is generally speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think the first thing, and I think all of us will agree, is passion, right? This is natural. It is not where a parent comes and says, hey, I want my son to do design. It's not picking up a textbook and going to a class, attending a class, and write written exams. This is so much about your own creativity. So even if it's just computer science, right? If I have a student who comes to me, hey, I want to do computer science, I said, okay, cool. Why do you want to do it? Right? And naturally, we're looking for answers, which I think Kushnam, Aditi, we all have covered, is the creative side of even technology. So students forget technology can be creative as well. We have UI, UX, even computer science, making apps, designing, all that is so creative. So everything for me boils down to passion. Just the mere fact that, like just yesterday, a student walked to me and said, my dream is to work in Marvel, right? It could just begin with as simple as that. And then naturally finding that right fit, there's so many design schools, finding that right fit for each student. It could be the location, and I think how Bulbul has divided it into different types of schools is so beautiful. It could be,
Sure.
hey, that kid just says, I like only animation. I want to get only into VFX. The child knows clearly what they really want. I had an example of a student I met. I think that was my first month with Full Sail. And that boy in a crowd of literally 80 students, was standing in front of me with his 2D art book. That's it. That's all he knew that he loved to do, right? And after the graduation, believe it, that boy had offers from, and for all of you here, to be part of the visual effects for Avatar 2, right? And I think
That's interesting.
yeah, just passion and
So what you're saying is not just passion, perhaps you're also mentioning how that passion translates into demonstratable skills,
yeah.
which is what also I think Professor Bulbul touched upon. And somewhere where, in fact, I have a recent example of a student from SCAD, in fact, Kushnam, who's just recently got accepted to Tesla. And so he's super excited. So it's just, yeah, I mean, so many transitions happen this way. But let's say we are all imagine that we are all running a world, creating a world canvas. Okay, all of us, these panelists, and maybe the entire room here. And if we could create our own world canvas of visual arts and design for a student who maybe is not in this room also, he's never thought of pursuing a career in design or in visual arts. I think some of you have already highlighted, but what are the core values and ideas you would associate with this world canvas? Yeah. Professor Shamit, let's hear it from you. Yeah.
Yeah, can you just reiterate the question for me once
So
again?
it's the whole conversation around storytelling, character design, world building, business strategy. What could it be in a new world that we were designing, and that was all designed by visual arts people and designers? How would that world look like?
Yeah, I think, so far we have not spoken about the definition of design, and I think the definition of design that I love, which is, Herbert Simon's definition, that design is about, changing the existing conditions to the more preferred conditions, right? And to answer, your question, um, if, a student can think about bringing in a change, right? If there is that belief that, you can bring in a change, the change could be on into an object, the change could be into an environment, the change could be into, living conditions of, people outside. If you have that belief, right, design skills, design education can make you more capable, right? The KSA framework that Bulbul spoke about, the knowledge, skills, and attitude. I think design education will imbibe those skills to you to bring in that positive change, right? And depending on your interest area, right? Once you start pursuing your education, if you're an interior designer, you would be working with spaces. It could be public spaces, it could be private spaces, it could be commercial spaces. You would want to imbibe, you would want to kind of apply those skills to bring in those change. There is one concept which is getting very popular in design, which is called behavioral design, and I think we all will agree that I think if fundamentally something has to change, it has to be the behavior and the habits of the people, right?
Sure.
If people, are bringing a positive change in themselves, right, the world will be a much more happier place. And I think this concept of behavioral design, which I think a lot of design schools are now, floating as an elective, it's also becoming a very interesting specialization that a lot of students want to pursue in masters. Is something that even I am looking forward to, right? So, yeah, it's about making world a
Amazing.
more happy, comfortable, and convenient place, is how I would put it.
Wow. So in a lot of ways, you're saying design equals compassion and the ability to maybe, put ideas into
Drive
action.
positive change.
Drive positive change. I'm reminded of that recent advertisement where you see this little kid sitting inside a dustbin, and where he was actually telling his parents to segregate waste. And they're like, why are you sitting inside a dustbin? And the final, maybe actually just look up that ad about the kid sitting in a dustbin. Let me not break uh, you know, the last part of it to you. But anyways, this is interesting. So anyone else who'd like to share, panelists, anything on the core values and ideas you would associate with this world canvas of sorts?
I think Shamit has covered, Professor Shamit, you've covered quite a bit of it, and it's very interesting. And the only thought that came to my mind was uh, when I look at Shark Tank India, I see so many innovative things people are coming with. And again, I believe we human race have gone through so much during COVID times that it gave every individual a chance to prove themselves probably, and there were so many new things they were doing, and it is really inspiring to see Shark Tank India when exactly what you said about behavioral design, they're coming up with innovative ideas and things that can really change, whether it is environmental, whether it is sustainable, and I think living in Goa, I have learned so much about sustainability, which I did not in any big city when I was. So I think the world of visual arts is really thriving. It is fueled with creativity and connectivity because there's so much collaboration that happens. It's a very, very exciting time for artists and art lovers together, because we are witnessing the transformative power of art in this digital age, perhaps. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the kind of questions that also are getting asked, even in, I would say, the tests that are taken by various universities. Like I remember NID used to have this question about, design a director's table for someone who does not have a right arm. Yeah. Or is there a mouse that's possible for someone with only one finger? Or there was this whole time when this mouse used to have a wire that used to go inside a USB port, and someone thought about making it optical, right? Someone thought about making an optical AirPod, whichever. So at the end of the day, there's just so much innovation, problem solving that's actually taking place that it's mind-boggling. We can take one more comment from another panelist if you have on any of this.
May I add
Yeah,
something?
Kushnam, please.
Okay, sure. So this urge, or like you pose this question about what sort of core values or skills you're looking for in a person who has absolutely no idea about design. I think it's just this ability of asking this question, why, and doing your research for it. And I'm gonna share like one is my own embarrassing story. Like in grade 2 or 3, when I was kicked out of my own classroom because I asked my teacher, why is the word circus pronounced with 2 C's and very different pronunciations? It should either be circus or circus. It doesn't make sense to me. So I mean, I remember my teacher was like, you're doomed for failure. You probably won't have because you're not following the norm. And now when I meet these new creative people with such brilliant ideas, this whole thing stems from the question of why, or how can I make this better? So, and there's tremendous research that goes into designing. It's never that you just wake up from your sleep and you have an idea popped in. So it takes a lot of like passion, like everybody's talking about. It takes a lot of hard work, takes that urge of finding a solution to your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, we need to turn things upside down to really see them right. So, this is also the time, I think, Kushnam, you can take it up from here. Do you want to share how can what are SCAD's offerings, and what is SCAD really looking for when they're admitting students for your programs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you for sharing the screen. Always helps me with visual presentations to discuss this even better. So now SCAD is popularly known as SCAD around the world, but it stands for Savannah College of Art and Design. And we do have 4 global locations across, with 2 in the United States, that is Atlanta and Savannah. We've got 1 location in Europe, which is our Lacoste campus. And we've also established our campus online for the past 22 years out of our 45 years of existence. And it's not just a remedy of the pandemic. We really do believe there can be skills that you learn through softwares or just global learning in your own home countries and your own space and environment. Now, one thing I truly love talking about SCAD is the type of programs we offer. There are more than 100 different degree programs that range under this umbrella for design, technology, business innovation. So this one particular slide might be overwhelming to see the number of majors, but I do want to highlight a few that is hitting the market really strong with regards to creative business leadership, to the business of beauty and fragrance, which is a $500 billion industry as of today.
Woof.
Have
Yeah.
AR, VR technology that is popularly known as immersive reality. There's even growth in the fashion sector of luxury and brand management. And of course, we've touched upon UX design, animation, graphics. These are very well-known programs, but I just want everybody to know that there's so much of technology, business growing with design and art fields. And to everyone's surprise, there are 28 STEM programs here at SCAD. Even jewelry and fibers come under this because there's so much technology and gemology study that comes in those programs. So with that being said, I'd also like to talk about how one could apply to our university. It's a very simple process to punch in your application on the website and then get connected to either one of us from the admission team. And we will help you with your mark sheets for your high school or your college levels, with your English proficiency, which could be a medium of instruction letter from your school or your counselor stating that the medium of language or instruction has been English for your education. Or you could even have your IELTS and TOEFL exam scores sent to us. Now, when it comes to portfolios, we do have guidelines based on our website, so I would highly encourage people to take a look at that. Particularly, one good factor for undergrad students coming for bachelor's degree here at SCAD, you need not confine yourself to only one degree program. We do have the foundation year to help you explore all our sectors and majors and minors, and then decide or further navigate into your choice of field. So you can have a portfolio that is more writing based, or it could be something that is more visual arts or time based, or even business strategies are welcomed, because now you need not have just drawing ideas to be a good designer. Along with your portfolio, we would highly recommend to see a resume and a couple of letters of recommendations. So these help us understand your personality and your collaborative nature. And the last would be your statement of purpose, is to understand why are you so passionate for joining this industry and how can we help you achieve those dreams. So everything put together will help you get your admission results and decisions ready. And from there, we'll take it forward on a one-on-one counseling session where we help you understand everything that is required from SCAD's perspective, especially when it comes to industry connections, partnerships, and establishing internship opportunities after graduation.
Perfect. So Kushnam, is SCAD a Common App school, or can you apply to SCAD separately?
You can do both. We are on Common App, or you can directly apply on the link on our website. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anu, would you like to share something about Full Sail?
Yeah. So we are located in Winter Park, which is near Orlando, Florida. There is only one campus. And the areas of study include music and recording. That's how we started. We started as recording school, actually, in 1979. We have games, couple of STEM degrees under games, art and design. We have computer animation, graphic design. We have film and television. So film production, direction. Under technology, we have computer science, we have UI, UX. We have simulation, audio augmented and virtual reality. These are all STEM degrees. Media communication, business as well, and sports. So these are the degrees, and we have a lot of on-campus and online degrees in both the master's and the bachelor's. The only difference here would be a bachelor's can be finished in about close to 2 years. So these are very, very focused degrees, like Professor Bulbul already pointed out. So you don't pick out majors and minors here, but What's interesting here and what I love about Full Sail when my students tell me is the hands-on approach that we have and the studio that Full Sail has. We have over 110 studios, and these are all industry size and industry standard, spread over 210 acres. And the admission requirements are pretty simple. We will need an admissions interview. Since I travel a lot and most of my team is based in the US, we will be doing in-person or mostly virtual interviews with each and every student. The application will not proceed further without that happening. We need your transcripts, high school diplomas, English proficiency, art portfolio in certain programs only. A maths test, again, only in certain programs which are STEM related. And of course, the financial guarantee. So, and there are scholarship essays. We do not need a letter of recommendation because for me personally, the admission interview kind of covers everything we want to know about the student. Yeah, simple requirements.
This is fairly unique, actually, having an admission interview for a US university, because usually you would, depend on your school counselor recommendations. But then tell me how many interviews would Full Sail be doing in a year? Essentially, what kind of application pool are we looking at?
So, since my programs are not a lot of them, honestly, I remain fairly busy even with my travel. So managing these interviews, but what we've realized, and I love about that is here I'm getting the chance to really speak to the student, right? Really understand why they want to do it. So there have been days when I'm struggling with my travel, and there are sometimes 3 interviews a day. So we have a special team in the US as well who caters to only the admissions interviews.
I see. All right. Well, keep a lookout for Full Sail then. Yeah. Professor Bulbul, would you like to share about ISD? Of course, some of us have had the pleasure of actually visiting and experiencing your disrupted conclave recently. Yeah, the conference. But yes, please share.
So I'll be fairly quick because, Charu, I always believe when students will find out when they need to find out, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a gist, and then, of course, so the university itself is Atlas. Atlas is an acronym for Arts, Technology, Liberal Arts and Sciences. We are right here in Mumbai, in Bandra Kurla complex. Mumbai is, of course, progressively becoming a sort of a hub for education, similar to Pune in many ways. We are 3 schools. We are a school of design, a school of business, and a school for technology. And if in today's conclave, which is largely about creative schools, while I should only talk about ISD, which is our School of Design, I'm also taking a moment to talk about our School of Business and Technology, simply because while students come into the design schools, they have a choice to pick up an elective from our business or our tech school. So you could be doing graphic design with, let's say, an elective in stock markets. And often I find students in design tend to pick up electives from the other schools, such as those in our business, which is ISME, and our tech school, which is UGDX. But coming to our School of Design, which is ISD, one of the things that I do want to mention here is that the curriculum comes to us from Parsons in the US. Parsons, as many of you know, is one of the highly ranked schools globally. I think it's amongst the top 5 schools globally. So while students come to ISD, while they study the 4 years undergraduate Bachelor's of Design degree, they also get a course completion certificate from Parsons. Also, what it implies is that there are opportunities for students to do part of the program in India and the remaining part of it in the US in Parsons, should they so choose. So this is really what this particular slide is about. The next one, if you just look at the extreme left-hand side, because that's the agenda, there are 7 undergraduate programs we offer in design, starting from animation to strategic design. And Shamit, if I may take the liberty of saying this, Shamit actually started this program, the BDES Strategic Design Management Program at Atlas Skill Tech University. So he's really the Bhishma Pitama of this particular program, and a very popular program over here because it's a combination of both design and business. And while many students may know what course they wish to do, the first year of all of these 7 programs is common. You could call it a foundation program. We normally refer to it as first year studies. So it is on completion of the first year that students can choose any of the programs, whether it's animation or communication design or fashion or product or strategic design management. So those are the 7 undergraduate programs to look out for. Well, applying to Atlas, fairly simple. The entire process is online. You don't have to come to the campus at all, but you're welcome to, and you must visit us at some point. But having said that, of course, the application is a fairly short application. Students should take a little under 10 minutes to be able to complete the application process. There's a statement of purpose, which is part of the application process. We do not assess. There's no grades attributed to your SOP, but of course, it's a very important tool that enables us to make a decision. Having done that, there's a design aptitude test, which is also an online test. Having done that, students are invited to upload their portfolios. For those of them who do not have a portfolio, there's a project to be done. So you could choose either or. And once you've completed the first, the second, and the third step, you're invited to take a personal interview, which is also online. Of course, the weightages for each of these 3 steps, step 2, 3, 4, vary to some extent. But once you've finished step 4, you will, of course, be invited to take a seat in Atlas. And I think I'll stop there, Charu.
This is very interesting. No. I like the whole idea about not, if you don't have a portfolio, you can do a design project, because truly speaking, many students often come to these degrees as an afterthought or after a lot of cajoling, or discussion within the family.
I didn't have a portfolio when I chose a design school. Doesn't make me any lesser, right? It's just that it was an afterthought, right? So thank you for making that observation.
Yeah, surely. Great. Yes, Professor Shamit.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Bulbul, for that recognition and remembering that. So I'm representing Flame School of Design. We are based out of Pune, Maharashtra, and we offer only one program in BDES, which is called Experience Design. I already spoke about how design is becoming very relevant in the industry, and designers are doing more than just design. They're also part of strategy, consumer experiences, and therefore the roles of designers are evolving. And that kind of emphasizes that why designers need to have a multidisciplinary skill set. So the reason we only have one program and we have very thoughtfully named it Experience Design is because we believe whatever you create, whether it's a product or a service or an environment, right? What really matters is what is the impact you're creating in people, right? And what really the impact that you create is experience, right? Whether you use a coffee mug or whether you're experiencing Zomato or Uber as a service, end of the day you remember it only when you have great experience, right? So our experience design program is actually an culmination of product design, service design, business design, UX UI design, graphic design, right? So these are all embedded in our program. And I should also say that we are definitely not a fashion or an interior program, right? So these are not the things we offer. We can go to this slide. This is a very important slide, something we all love and we imbibe. What we intend to create is a pie-shaped designer, and Flame is very unique in a way that Flame has been a pioneer liberal education university. And what you do is when you come to do design in Flame, in first year, you actually study design only for 20% of the time. The remaining 80% of the time, you're actually studying subjects in humanities, subjects in, from the business world, subjects from the, environmental science, foreign languages, critical thinking, public speaking, right? All of these other skill sets, which are becoming highly relevant for designers to cater to those, other expectations that the industry has. So in Flame, you choose a major in experience design, but then after your first year, now that you have experienced different subjects, when you come to second year, you have to choose one minor. And the 5 minors we offer are psychology, literature, cultural studies, business analytics, marketing, and entrepreneurship, right? So when you graduate, after 4 years, you graduate with a major in experience design and minor in one of these subjects. And Flame has actually been a pioneer. We are in our 18th year of the university, and our humanities, social science, public policy, entrepreneurship, marketing, all these disciplines have been very well established. Let me move to the next slide. So Charu, yeah, thank you. What is also unique about Flame is we emphasize a lot on academic research and articulation, communication about work, and all our faculties in Flame have a PhD degree. So Flame hires faculties only who have done PhDs from the QS 500 ranking universities, and I mentioned about the minor, so psychology, business analytics, all these courses under these minors are taught by faculties from those department. So essentially what happens is when you do your BDes from second year onwards, you are doing 4 subjects in design, which are taught by the design faculties, and you're doing 2 subjects every semester from your minor, which could either be one of those 5. Um, Apart from that, Flame has a lot of other offerings in terms of experiential learning programs, which I think I'll park it for now. You can check it on the website. I don't have a slide for application process, but let me quickly tell you about that as well. If you have appeared for UCEED, which is a common entrance exam for design, you don't need to appear for our design entrance exam. You can directly come for the interview. Flame also has a exam called FEAT, Flame Entrance Aptitude Test, which you have to qualify, which is essentially a quantitative reasoning language and analytical ability, which is tested in that. We emphasize a lot on academics, so 70% is the cutoff for your 10th standard, 12th standard. You don't need a portfolio; it's not mandatory, but you need to have a really good, I would say, LOR. Really good SOP, and for in first year of Flame, you also do sports as a subject because we have an excellent sports facility, and we believe a lot of skills like leadership, team working, right? All of those gets imbibed when you are actually playing some sports. So that those are some of the unique propositions that Flame has to offer in terms of design. And happy to answer more queries later. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or write to me and visit our website. Thank you.
That's so wonderful, Professor Shamit. For an academician, I think that was quite a pitch. Yeah. So yeah, and also I love the whole idea of, somewhere combining sports with this elective and doing design on the side, because it is indeed about working on the whole student, right? And so sometimes ignoring one can lead to that energy depletion, essentially. And that's not great for any designer at the end of the day. So yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Aditi, would you like to share something about SVA? I think we all know about
Yes.
SVA. It's an awesome school. I think you've spent what, 11 years at
Yes,
SVA?
I have. And I visited your
Yes.
as well, Charu. I visited ACS in London too.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's great. I think next time around we have to, yeah,
Yes,
please
we
go
had
ahead.
to sure.
Mhm.
All right, so quickly, I'm going to rush through. I only have 2 slides, guys. So, School of Visual Arts is in New York City. SVA was founded in 1947. We've been there for 7 decades now. It was founded by Silas Rhodes and Bern Hogarth, the guy who created Tarzan the character. Hence, SVA has been called the Harvard of cartooning and illustration, actually. Charu, you can go back to the first slide.
Sorry.
We are only in Manhattan in New York City, and it's the only branch that SVA has. So if you want to have the student experience in New York, you can always look up the college. The website is sva.edu. Now, we are not a campus like your school, but we are 16 buildings that are spread across in New York City. So that kind of makes you you're walking literally like a professional, navigating those streets and avenues while you're in New York. We have 4 residence halls that can accommodate anyone. It's not mandatory to stay in the residence halls, but it's usually encouraged because that's where you make friends and you get comfortable. Now, we offer 11 BFA programs and about 20 master degrees. The programs are mentioned right here. If you ask me what is the USP of SVA, I would say most of the students choose because it's New York City. And second, I think we have 1,100 working professionals who are coming and teaching at SVA. So most of the students, they get internships and jobs through the faculty. So that's kind of really the biggest factor. And yes, you also get me. SVA is the only art and design college that has 7 regional representatives. And so we handhold you from the day you join the college till the end. Now, what do you need for the application? It's fairly simple. We are not on Common App. It's a fairly simple application procedure. You can go on the website and fill your application. You need a portfolio of 15 to 20 artworks, and we do not need TOEFL, SATs, or IELTS. All you need is just your academic grades that can be emailed to me. Now, for your portfolio, now what is a portfolio? Let's just talk about that. It's literally a selection of work that is compiled over a period of time. Anything that you have done in your classroom can become part of your portfolio. What my advice to all the students is usually that try to represent your best work in your portfolio. It should give your insight. It should be personal. I tell students that, India is such a rich country. We have such amazing culture. We have so many festivals. So try to add all that as part of your portfolio. Tell them where you're coming from, tell them what is your story, and that kind of is the biggest factor. Whatever inspires you, whatever motivates you should become part of your portfolio. Sometimes it's not about how well you create, but what you choose to create, how much you've experimented with the artworks. It's anything that is part of your background. Most of the US colleges do not have an interview or an entrance exam. Hence, the portfolio is something that represents you. So try to add all that you are surrounded with in your portfolio. And lastly, do not be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Do not fear, because there's enough life left to fear other things. So please don't fear while you are, applying for any art college. I also do portfolio reviews. So if there is any student who would like to share your portfolio with me, you can always take my email address from TOC and get in touch with me. We can always get on a Zoom call and can give you a feedback. So thank you.
That's so kind of you, Aditi. In fact, you can actually drop your email address in the chat box and they can reach out to you. And also, it's very interesting that it's not on Common App and you do all this hand holding at this time. Tell me something with the portfolio. Do you also encourage students to sometimes share video files or audio files? Anything close?
So for film and photography, it's a completely digital portfolio. But for anything else, animation, interior design, fine arts, design advertising, it's basically a fine art based portfolio. So yes, anybody, if you have small GIFs that you have, if you've learned a new software and you've just experimented, you feel free to add all that. Yeah.
Does SVA offer any program that goes without a portfolio?
No.
No. Okay. So you're pure arts. Yeah, you are in the right panel. Definitely. Okay, great. So I think we've covered a lot of ground here. Thank you so much, panelists, for sharing in detail. I guess we do have some questions coming through from the audience. So this is a great time to do that. Janvi, do we have some questions that you've highlighted maybe?
I don't see any in the chat.
Okay, we'll maybe give 30 seconds to the audience to maybe look at asking any questions. You can always raise your hand or you can put it in the chat box. So we'll be happy to unmute you as well. So there is a question I see, how do we look at sustainability and design together? But I wanted to add to that question and say, I don't think this conversation will be complete if we do not talk about AI. And how, like I was saying, I think Kushnam, in one of your slides, there was something on dramatic writing. Now, will that even stay as a major is my question. And how does that really play out going forward?
Absolutely. Actually, we are one of those schools that utilizes AI immersive reality in our curriculums. But that's not because it's, taking away jobs or prospects of designers. It's only to help navigate through tools that will ease off, bring out skeletons of your structure when it comes to even dramatic writing. So there was this whole concept of why or how is AI going to change the industry? Is it going to put people out of jobs? The answer is, I think the tasks or action items that are very mundane or do not require creativity may go out of play, but things that will require human touch, empathy, or even just finding out solutions for the future, that's never going to be replaced by a tool or artificial intelligence that only works based on past data, so that would be
Sure.
my take on that. We've actually encountered a lot of students from dramatic writings going into many other prospects. Like there's one student who had job offers from Netflix and from a fintech company like HSBC Bank. And believe it or not, he took the one which was in fintech because it gives a wider range of experience for him at this graduating level. So I do see this being a very promising career. Creative industries will not die out so soon.
Of course. No, they won't die out at all, actually. Yeah, so there are a couple of questions. I think how strong math is required to apply for SCAD as normally? Maybe we'll come back to you, Kushna. Maybe let's go to Professor Shamit first. There's a question for you, sir, here that says, elaborate more on experience design and what it exactly means. What is the scope of fashion communication in it, if at all?
Yeah, I think, okay, let me answer the first piece. I think the simplest example of experience design I can give you is Paytm and UPI payments, right? Ever since demonetization has happened to now, right? The adoption of UPI took some time. But now, paying to a auto driver, a rickshaw wala, paying to a vegetable vendor has become so easy, right? And, someone is sitting and thinking about it, right? Someone is creating those touch points. Someone is thinking about that, everyone carries a smartphone, so all we have to do is provide a QR code. So we need this device, where people can scan the QR code, right? And then we need some, backstage linking of the of the services. So once QR code is scanned and a OTP is put, the money is automatically deducted and credited into the vendor's account. Someone is also thinking about that, there were some vendors who, were a little apprehensive of using it, putting up a Paytm because they were not knowing if the account, if the money is getting credited. And someone thought about adding a voice there saying that, the money has got added into your account, right? So that is an experience, and it's an experience not just for the consumer, but also for that vendor, who's like, oh, life has become easy for me. मुझे छुट्टा नहीं रखना पड़ता. You don't need a change anymore, right? So I think that is experience design. And if you look at it from a designer's lens, what do you need to create? You need to create those transactions. You need to create those interactions. You need to create that device. You need to create that technology, right? That prompts, that kind of validates that the payment has been made. So that is, I think, I would say one example of experience design, and there are several others, right? Even let's say, for example, the water bottle that I use, even though it's a product that you've designed, but if the lid of the bottle is too tight to open, right, I'll probably not have a great experience when I'm drinking water. If the bottle is not tightened enough, right, maybe there's some gap in it, it's going to spoil my experience, right? So experience design essentially is about how does a user, and a user need not just be a customer, it could also be a vendor or a stakeholder. How do they feel when they use your product or service? So that is experience design. What is the scope for fashion communication? So honestly, Flame doesn't offer fashion communication. I think Bulbul can expand more on it. But I would say that experience design is also in terms of how fashion and fashion related products get communicated, right? I think fashion shows are a great example of it. A lot of fashion photography that happens, the setups that get made, the fashion publications that happen. I would say that's where a bit of an experience design gets into. But I would encourage Bulbul because she has a background in fashion, and I think Atlas also has a program in fashion communication. So, Bulbul, if you would want to extend this further.
Thanks, Shamit. My take on fashion communication and styling as a program, is that what it is? I haven't read the
It's
question.
just saying what is the scope of experience design in fashion communication? Actually, that was the question. But yeah, but you can add on what is
Simply put, Charushila, I think I just from what Shamit said is well, everything is human centric or experiential design, right? There's two aspects of fashion. There are people who make clothes, right? You go to a store, you go to a Marks and Spencer's, you buy a black T-shirt, you love it, value for money. You put it in the washing machine, the color doesn't bleed, the threads remain intact. You wear it for the next 3 years, and every time you wear it, you say that was value for money. So a fashion designer has done a great job at making that T-shirt for you. The communicator, on the other hand, puts it together in a very convincing way, whether it is the application happens for the fashion industry, film industry, television industry, film and media, OTT, where we don't need large volumes of clothes. Just as a character has something to say, a dialogue to deliver, he's also dressed and attired in a manner that looks very convincing that he fits the role he's meant for. And so whether the application happens for the industries such as those I talked about, that really is the role of a fashion communicator. And of course, fashion branding, fashion identity, brand identity, all of those also become part of fashion communication. And of course, a large part of it is styling. And by the way, pretty much everything that we buy today is because it's styled so well, right? You go on Instagram, it compels you to buy something that you may not even have thought, right? It compels you to think about Janvi's laughing at that, right? It tells you what footwear, what trouser, what t-shirt, what jacket, and soon, you may have been just casually scrolling and you end up buying a whole lot of things because it's just styled that well. In fact, I'm of the opinion that anything you buy out here is because it's styled so well.
True. There was
the buy now button is because somebody did a very good job at styling it, right?
Yeah.
Barring necessities, right? Your bread and egg and groceries, everything that you buy is styled today.
Believe you me, now these eggs are also coming in different,
right?
I mean, different color boxes, organic and whatever.
Completely, right?
Yeah.
I just
sorry, go ahead, Shamit.
Yeah, after you're done.
No, that's it.
Yeah, so I think one example just came to my mind about fashion communication and experience design. I think one common example is, buying clothes online, right? With this whole virtual reality tech, right? Where you could try out different glasses and different clothes. There's a lot of talk going on metaverse, right? I think, and how these immersive technologies, right? So what are those? Those are actually, examples of experience design, because that's an application of experience design into fashion retail. So you're actually communicating your fashion, accessories, fashion clothing, everything through that virtual world, right? And even the transactions that are going to happen, right? That which clothes suits you better, how much is it for, right? All of that actually is an example of experience design in the context of fashion.
Nobody goes to a store any longer, right? You're making all your decisions right there. So
yes, totally.
You don't have to go to a minuscule and try those clothes and then go another day to return. No. So I think all of that makes it.
So in fact, and every little item that you own becomes like an extension of your personality and what you're trying to project. So the bottle you carry, the bag you carry, or whichever. So at the end of the day, experience is kind of woven into this entire fabric. So I think this is very interesting to know. I think with Aditi, you want to add something? Yeah, you sure?
I think one example I wanted to add to experience design is also concerts. Coldplay concert was very experiential with the bands, the lights, the fireworks. And I think they're also moving towards making it so sustainable and reducing the carbon footprint. And also a lot of music festivals, just like we're talking about carrying, your own glasses or steel glasses, which you can refill. So experience design can really be very vast. It just came to my mind, so I thought to share.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, that Coldplay concert is goals. Absolutely. So, and I think moving forward, let's quickly with a yes or no, because there's this one question about math. And of course, as a blanket answer, most of us counselors, when someone is asking, do I require math to study design? The overall answer is usually, no, it's not such a big requirement. So maybe with a yes or no, Aditi, does SVA look at mathematics as a requirement?
No.
Okay. Anu? How's that?
No.
No. Okay. Atlas. There you go. All right, Professor Shamit,
I'm going to answer like an academician here.
please.
Very, very basic because there's something very fresh in my mind. You need to be able to differentiate between inches and centimeters and millimeters, right? As long as you know the conversion of these and that level of maths, I think that is good enough, right? No one is asking you to get into integration and derivatives and limits, but very basic maths that you need in across your life is what I would.
Thank you. Thank you for specifying this. Yes, you need to know how to plus, minus, divide, and multiply, right? Bod mass, basic bod mass. Okay, Kushnam, SCAD.
It's not required for admission, but whenever there's math relevant to anything in terms of architecture, interior, or any type of technical coding, you will learn the relevant math required for it in your curriculum at SCAD. So feel free to not have that as your primary subject in high school academics.
Perfect, perfect. And do we require SATs for SCAD right now?
No, we are
No.
test blind, completely no to SATs and ACTs.
Perfect, perfect. So I think we can end with this last question by Bhakti, and she's actually highlighting what is the one message you would like to convey to counselors here who have the job of dispelling myths about careers in visual arts and design? The one thing that you think is important to convey to parents from a counselor's perspective. So, what should counselors be really telling parents who are maybe still a little unsure about their child getting into visual arts and design? Perhaps.
attachment हो गया था
Charu, can I take that straight off?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I think
Can
there's no
start with
better
you.
way to build to do this than to give parents creative confidence, right? I mean, if a parent is confident, I mean, who's more invested in the child ever than the parent themselves? Everyone is, but parent definitely. So give them creative confidence. Just show them examples, case studies, get on LinkedIn, connect with people who pursue design as a serious career. A parent doing that homework goes a long way in him or her having the confidence to let their children do it as well. And that's something that must be done. And I think interactions with people, visiting schools, interacting with alumni, faculty, demonstration of actual work is the best way for someone to be comfortable with the whole idea of doing something creative, right?
Awesome.
And not just doing something creative, the ramifications. Today, design is products, communication, graphics.
Yeah.
Design can be the core and the nucleus. Design can also be a peripheral arrangement, right? You could be doing something core in design. And I think that's the
So building creative confidence through
confidence
this paraphernalia of things. Amazing. Amazing. Yes. Anyone else? Yeah, Aditi.
I would like to add that I think I would request parents to even identify the child's passion as early as, because they are the ones living with their child in that close proximity, and none of the counselors or us know about their passion. So when they identify it, to start motivating their child in that direction, whatever it could be, even if it is creative, to not look at it as a hobby, but to encourage them to do more and to move in that direction, knowing that there are lots of jobs and art is limitless. Yeah, the options
Art
are
is limitless. Absolutely. I still remember having a little Montessori corner for my daughter as she was growing up. And so that's where we used to throw in all the Diwali dabbas and everything else. And she used to come up with crazy gift ideas, out of the whole thing. And yeah, it's beautiful to actually encourage that early on and definitely keep an eye for it, not just as a hobby, like you rightly said, but as something that is connecting their neurons and leading to a more creative, strategic thinker of the future. Amazing. Yeah. So, yes, Professor
I can
Shah.
go next. Yeah, I would say I think it's important to imbibe this into parents that everyone has to have the respect for all the disciplines. It's not that one discipline is better than the other one. So even if parents would be very keen that their ward should pursue engineering or medical, it's not that when you come to design you have to completely disregard that, right? So you never know how disciplines will collide. Your ward may end up pursuing design but may fall in love with engineering and may become an industrial designer, or may want to
Yeah.
pursue, bring in engineering or medical towards the end and want to pursue healthcare or design, right? So don't disregard any discipline, is something that I would want counselors to tell the parents. Every discipline has an importance. That's very important.
Awesome. Very well said. Yeah, I keep saying, I mean, even yoga trainers are doing very well today. So, yeah. Yes, Anu, Kushnam, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. So, I mean, honestly, I think pretty much everyone's covered a lot. I have one personal take on this question is what you study at any university or any creative field is, I mean, any college is to first, I mean, get that first job into the market. But what you actually learn through design, like how we are all talking about design being a mindset, it's actually to learn how you can have transferable skills for the next 20 years of your life. You could start as an animator, end up as an experiential designer, or go somewhere else from there. It's really about helping our parents and students understand this because everything, I mean, I don't know how many people end up doing the same work that they've had degrees from for the next 20, 30 years of their life. So I think
Absolutely.
if one needs to demystify that, it would help parents and students know that there is transferable skills and opportunities waiting.
Excellent, excellent. Maybe again, coming back to that amusement park that we're all in, right? Enjoying all the surprises that come with it, the roller coaster rides and the free falls. Amazing. Yeah. Anu?
Yeah, I could just, I think everybody has covered up everything so beautifully. What helps here, I always feel, and I always tell the counselors, hey, if your parents feel they're not sure if that creative field works, hey, reach out to the alumnus, right? See what they're doing. Are they happy with, happiness? At the end of the day, I think we all are aiming for something as simple as being happy with what we are doing. So as a parent, if I know my child wakes up every day feeling happy, wanting to do what they're happy about, um, just allowing them to do that. I love to do that, connect my students, my parents with the alumni, talk to them.
Perfect. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think so much has come out of this whole thing, creating confidence within parents, that creative confidence, respect for all disciplines, helping students understand that there is more to this degree than just a degree at the end of the day. Thank you so much, panelists. I have thoroughly enjoyed this journey with you, and I think it's time for us to call it a day, and because it's been extremely engaging. And thank you for all these questions flowing in. I think Bhakti has some announcements to make now, but signing off, and it's been fun. Yeah.
Thank you all so
Bhakti,
much.
over to you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
panelists.
Thank
What an
you. Thank you.
incredible panel. I mean, we're listening from absolute wish list dream universities. And the best part is it's not just the US, it's also India. And this was our dream wish list. Thank you all for being here. We have another session as part of our Creative Careers Conclave tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. And that focuses on performing arts and filmmaking. So if you're interested in knowing more about those careers, please join us. And thank you all and good night. And yeah, we're at time. That's it. No more.
Maybe you can
Thank
put
you
the
so
link
much.
there, Janvi.
Yes. Oh, you want to take a picture? Okay. All right, guys, everyone who's here, like switch on your cameras. That would be phenomenal. Before you log off, just switch on your cameras.
In fact, I had this idea of ending it with asking you to hold something that's sitting close to you where you feel design has truly impacted somewhere around you. So I'm gonna hold my cup.
Literally an eye mask.
There you go. Design everywhere. Yeah. So we don't need to.
Oh, that's a great idea, actually. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Kanchan is showing us a car. That's
Oh,
brilliant.
Aditi, we can't see you now because of the
We
light.
can only see products, unfortunately. We can't feel the services
I'm
right now.
removing
Yeah, the experience of it all, Professor Shamit.
But who's taking the picture if you're holding everything?
Janvi is.
I am.
Acha, okay.
Done. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Charu, for
Thank
being
you
a
so
good host.
much.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.